Hello all, it's been a long time without videos. We were unfortunately stuck with land-based chores. In spring 2017 we do our maintenance in Izmir at the Levent Marina. Whether it is to move boats or sand a hull or paint it, these guys really know their job. After completion of the maintenance, we take the boat for a shakedown cruise in the eastern part of the Aegean, comprised of the islands of Chios, Ikaria and Samos. Unusual for Izmir, the bay is actually dead calm. After motoring for most of the day, we spend the night in the Cape of Karaburun. The next day, a southeasterly has replaced the usual northwesterly, so we go on a close reach to Cheshme, do our exit, then to Khios, do our entry into Greece, pick up my brother and go on to Emporios. South of the Khios island, the Bay of Emporios is next to two beaches of dark shingles of volcanic origins. The landscape is gorgeous, and on top of it we find a bounty of rock Samphire, one of our preferred greens to forage on shores. Today in the rocks in the cliff, we did not pick a lot, huh?
No, not a lot, but it's enough for 2 days.
So we'll cook it next. Cooking our
Surprise.
rock Samphire.
And just boil it, that's all.
How long do you boil it?
It should be a little bit change the color. Like that.
Al dente.
Al dente.
Once it is cooked,
Yes.
How do you keep it?
Olive oil and balsamic sirke and garlic.
And together with our gourmet food, at last comes the northwesterlies. From initially 12 knots, the wind eventually reaches 25. The boat is flying, sailing at 11.5 knots. As we are arriving in Cape Drakanon, north of Ikaria, it is definitely time to furl the code 0. Özlem,
Wait.
you know my tool iron thing with a slit in the middle?
I know it!
The beauty of Ikaria has been preserved by its isolation and limited access over time. Today, it is becoming famous for its clusters of long-living, healthy senior citizens, with more centenarians than one can count. The pristine water is said to have medicinal benefit in several springs along the coast. We heard there is such a spring in Agios Kirikos, so we moved there to try it. At 38 degrees, the water is quite warm. And yes, it worked. By this time, Ikaria has had a deep, charming effect on us, and we rent a car to explore mountain villages.
Your weary soul to rest. Yeah, I will try to do my best to keep you safe inside this nest and keep the gravity from pulling you to earth. I'd like to say this gets more clear when it's more cloudy.
What prevails in these villages is a sense of calm, of peace of mind, and the absence of stress. Even in a city like Evdilos, the northern harbor, we don't witness any agitation, any traffic, or any stress. Before heading back to the boat, we are actually taking a look at our next goal, Phourni. Phourni was a pirate nest for centuries before our times. It is also known as the most dangerous area of the Aegean. There are in fact more than 54 ancient shipwrecks in less than 17 square miles.
Gente, canım bir tanem. Alayım bakayım. Tamam, nice.
Cruising from Phourni archipelago, where we spent the night just south of Ikaria, and currently heading towards Pythagorion in Samos island. The wind is about 20 knots, 20 to 25 in gusts. There is an acceleration zone here between Ikaria, Phourni and Samos. Full Genoa and two reef in the mainsail.
After resting in the port of Pythagorion, we set to explore historical landmarks. First is the Temple of Hera, built 590 years BC and destroyed about 400 years after Christ. Only one column remained after the dreadful earthquake. Then we hike 3 kilometers to the tunnel of Megarian Eupalinos, supposed to be the first known hydraulic engineer in the world. The four of us intended to visit, and fortunately, due to his young age, Theo needs to stay out and Özlem will stay with him. The tunnel, completed around 550 BC, was the longest of its time, 1,036 meters long, about 3,400 feet. Built from both sides, the Eupalinos used dogleg and increasing height in opposite directions. Quite an intelligent design to ensure that both ends meet.
So that's the arrival of the top section of the tunnel. Here, the arrival of the bottom section of the tunnel.
Like elsewhere in Greece, the evening life in Pythagorion revolves around the tavernas, where we end the day.
What are you drinking, Jean?
We're drinking wine and it tastes so good.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
So this wine is made by the restaurant owner. We are leaving Samos. We're heading into Doğan Bay in Turkey. Sailing with two reef in the mainsail, about 15 to 20 knots of wind, 60 degrees apparent wind. Storm clouds, the pink one. On our left we have this cloud over there, and on our back we have this one, and they correspond to these clouds, which means we're gonna have some storm. So we hope it will happen after we drop the anchor. So the Genoa is furled, the mainsail is dropped. We'll close the bag when we arrive because we just try to focus on reaching the bay. And we get our first summer storm, even though it's not very warm. Lots of lightning, right?
Yes, a lot.
So you're
Strong.
holding the boat stationary, I think.
Yes.
We have a rock underwater, so just back up a little bit.
Yes.
After the rain comes the sun. The next morning, in a bright sunny day, we proceed to Altenkirch. On the evening, in the Bay of Altenkirch, we stop for a family reunion. The next morning, we depart for Khios, do our exit of Greece. After dropping my brother on a ferry to Athens, we sail to Çeşme, do our entry in Turkey, and let Theo practice his steering skills. Our stop in a loggia seems to be in the middle of a powerboat show, but the water is beautiful and we enjoy it. Theo starts to train for free diving, actually.
In the Bay of Izmir, we just passed Karaburun. The wind is blowing 20-25.
And our speed is 8 knots.
8 knots, yes, sometimes 8.5, 8.6. Broad ridge, Genoa full and mainsail full.
We did 9.1. Super.
Today it's not our real record, but it's good. And the Genoa?
The Genoa and mainsail.
Mainsail.
Perfect. 9.1. Wow,
Excellent.
great.
Where are we arriving, Özlem?
A sea of empty hearts without a drop of love to fill. The root of all the heart.
The boat is still going 6 knots in about 12 knot breeze.
Just used to stand now.
Yeah, it looks slow. We were going between 9 and 10 during the day.
Voices may be silent, but we hear you all the same. Your words are in the sunlight and the tapping of the rain. It waters all the seeds asleep within